ومن يضلل فلا هادي له وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله. Naam, so as has been mentioned all weekend, may Allah Ta'ala reward you all with good and put it on your scale of good deeds on Yawm al-Qiyamah. As has been mentioned all weekend about as both classes by the Mashaykh was about the obligation of seeking knowledge. And a person has to have knowledge of that thing that he wishes to do. So we're speaking about marriage, and if a brother wants to get married, he has to know what are the rights that his wife has upon him. If a brother is already married, he has to know what are the rights that the wife has upon him. And tomorrow morning after Salatul Fajr, my brother Abbaas, may Allah Ta'ala preserve him, is going to give a very important class about the Ahkam al-Talaq, the rulings of divorce. And it is very important that a person not even get married until they know how to get to divorce. Because many people, they get married and they don't know how to get divorced, so they get divorced in the wrong way. And they may be living together and they're not married. And they think they're married because they don't know how to get divorced. So all these things are very important. So before we begin, we'd like to mention this, that we encourage the sisters that don't settle. But rather when you get married, ask the good questions. No one asks the important questions when it's time to get married. But rather you need to begin to ask that brother, do you know what my rights are? If he does not know what your rights are, how do you expect him to give you your rights? It's probably not going to happen. So begin to ask these good questions. Brothers, do you know what my rights are? Now we mentioned how many rights did the Sheikh mention in this book? How many? For the man, there were 9. And for the woman, there are how many? 12. So if you're taking notes, which everyone should be taking some type of note, write down 12 numbers. Now after the 4th number, make a long space, because that's going to be a significant amount that he's going to mention at that point. Okay? So once again, these are 2 very important books. They have both been translated in English. One book is Means to a Happy Family Life, and the other book is Haqqul Zawjain, The Rights of the Spouses, and both books are by Sheikh Sulaiman al-Ruhaili, may Allah Ta'ala preserve him. The Sheikh begins by saying, he said, verily the husband is the captain of the ship, and he is the supervisor of the home. And just as he has rights, there are also rights upon him, meaning rights that he has to give his wife. He said, and the Muslim husband, he draws close to Allah Ta'ala by fulfilling the rights of his wife which are upon him. He said he fulfills her rights because he is responsible for her. As the Messenger of Allah ﷺ said, كُلُّكُمْ رَاعٍ وَمَسْئُولٌ عَنْ رَعَتِهِ. All of you are shepherds and all of you shall be questioned. You're all responsible. You shall be questioned about your flock. He said, Al-Imam Ra'in. The Imam is a shepherd, and he will be questioned about his flock. And the man concerning his family is a shepherd, and he shall be questioned about his flock. He said, therefore the righteous man knows that he has been made responsible for his wife, and he shall be questioned about her. So he exerts himself in advising her and fulfilling her rights, because he knows this is from taqwa of Allah Ta'ala. And the Messenger of Allah he said, فَاتَّقُوا اللَّهَ فِي النِّسَاءِ. He said, fear Allah concerning the women. When you hear the word taqwa, you know what that word means, to have taqwa of Allah Ta'ala? Because it's always translated as fear. There's about 9 different words in the Quran, all translated as fear, have different meanings. We hear taqwa of Allah Ta'ala, taqwa, what does that mean, Ya Akhwan? We hear taqwa. It's different than khawf, which is different than khashya, which is different than rahba. This is taqwa. Taqwa means that you place ma'akshay, tafaddal. Okay, jazakallah khayn. Anyone else?
Place a barrier between yourself and Allah's punishment.
Ahsant. That you, taqwa from the word wow, qaf, yeah. That means a protection or a barrier that you place between yourself and that thing that you fear, a barrier. So when you hear taqwa of Allah, that you place between yourself and Allah's punishment, a barrier that will keep you from being punished. And that barrier is by doing what? Doing what he told you to do and not doing what he told you not to do. Now he says, so, and the righteous man fulfills the rights of his wife because he knows this is a command of the Messenger of Allah alayhi salam, and he's afraid of neglecting his command. He said, treat the women kindly. This is a command. Treat the women kindly. This hadith, of course, has been collected in Sahih Bukhari. Now, he said, and the righteous man, the blessed man, he fulfills the rights of his wife because he knows he is a trust that he has been given. And the trust is from who, ya akhwan? From Allah Azza wa Jal has made this woman a trust for him. Now, as the Messenger of Allah he said, verily you have taken them as a trust from Allah. He said, so the blessed Muslim husband does not fulfill the rights of his wife in exchange for his rights. Rather, he does this because he is responsible in front of Allah Azza wa Jal. On that day, that's how long, ya akhwan? How long is the day of judgment? في يوم كان مقداره 50,000 سنة. On a day that the standing is 50,000 years. Now, he said, so, from the rights, this is number one, ya akhwan. From the rights of the wife that she has upon the husband, now, he said, أن ينفق عليها, أن ينفق عليها, that he spend upon her. That this is the first one, ya akhwan, that he spend upon her according to what is customary to where he's at. So he's going to feed her when he eats. He is going to clothe her when he puts clothes on his back. He says, so the man is required to spend upon his wife and to feed his wife according to what is the customary practices in that area. And so he doesn't have to be extravagant, nor is he going to be a miser. He says, so he's not going to be stingy with his wealth and dealing with his wife and give her less than what is commonly practiced in his area. And he does not have to go above his ability and what is above common practice. He said, and this is because the Messenger of Allah, he said, their rights over you are that you should provide for them and clothe them in a reasonable manner. Bil ma'ruf, in a reasonable manner. What's number one, ya akhwan? Spend upon your wife. So just like as my brother Raha said, if you can't spend upon the first one, can you get a second and third? Not possible, ya akhwan. Allah Ta'ala is going to ask us about this, okay? Now, number two. And yuhsina ilayha. From the second right, ya akhwan, that the woman has upon the man is that he is kind to her. That he is kind to her. Now, he said from the rights of the wife upon the husband that he is kind to her with every means that is common practice. He said, so he is kind to the wife in anything that does not contradict the laws of Allah Azza wa Jal. And then he mentioned that the Prophet Muhammad he said, أَلَا وَحَقُّهُنَّ عَلَيْكُمْ أَن تُحْسِنُوا إِلَيْهِنْ. He said their rights over you is that you should treat them well. Their right over you is that you should treat them well. Number one is what? Spend upon them. Number two is what? Treat them kindly. Okay? Let's go to number three. Number three, أَلَا يَضْرُبُهَا. That he should not beat his wife. He should not be a wife beater. Okay? And we have something very nice that my brother Raha translated that's on our blog by Sheikh Muhammad bin Hadi. We all know him, right? And it's entitled, Beating Your Wife is a Reprehensible Act. It's an evil act to beat your wife, right? Nah. So the Sheikh, he says, from the rights of the wife upon the husband that he should not hit her. So he says, so he is not allowed to hit his wife unless he fears some disobedience from her. He says, so hitting is specified. Is a specified discipline. After she has been warned and she does not benefit from the warning, and he has boycotted her, and we're going to get to what it means to boycott. He says, then he is able to hit her, but the hitting, ya akhwan, is not a hitting of revenge. And as Sheikh Muhammad bin Hadi, he says, the hit is like a slap or a tap. That's it. And it's never in the face. And this is the problem, ya akhwan. Sometimes we hear these terms like we hear slavery, and we think chattel slavery. You know what chattel slavery is? That's like we see on Roots. You think that kind of Islam has slavery. You expect somebody to be treated like they were treated on Roots. No, in Islam, slavery The slave master, if he gives the slave too much work, he has to do what? He has to help him out. He has to put the same clothes on the slave that he's wearing. He's going to feed him the same food he's eating from. It's not the same, Yakhwan. We have to understand the explanation of these things, okay? Now, and the Messenger of Allah Islam, he said, whoever man daraba sultan dhulman, whoever hits someone with a whip unjustly, he will have the score to settle with him on the day of judgment. Ya Akhwan, do we understand that on the day of judgment, who is Allah Ta'ala going to resurrect? Now, rhetorical question, give me some feedback, brothers. Everybody and every what? And everything. SubhanAllah. The Messenger of Allah Islam was walking with one of his companions one day, and he saw two rams headbutting one another. And he said to his companion, he said, do you know why those two rams are headbutting each other? And the man said, no. He said, well, Allah knows, and he is going to judge between them on the day of judgment. Two rams in the middle of somewhere, headbutting each other. And Allah Ta'ala knows exactly what started the argument between these two animals. He knows who's at fault, who was wrong. And not only does he know, but he's going to bring these animals back to life, and whoever was the oppressor has to pay the one he oppressed back. And men think they're going to get over. Men think they're going to oppress their wife and they're going to get over. There is no get over in Islam. There is no get over. The animals will be raised to life, Akhwan, and people think you're not going to be raised to life. Even if you oppress a disbeliever, as we mentioned on Yom Jum'ah, وَإِنْ كَانَ كَافِرٌ, even if you oppress a disbeliever, you have to pay them back on the day of judgment. Naam. And he said, وَلَا يَضْرِبْ الْوَجْهِ, and do not strike in the face. You can't hit in the face, Akhwan. Naam. He said, so the scholars of Tafsir have said if a woman obeys her husband, there is no possibility for him to hit her at all, nor for him to boycott her. And then he said, Ya Akhwan, listen to this verse, Ya Akhwan. This verse is in Surah Nisa, verse number 34. He said, the translation, and for those women whose own part you, who you fear that they're going to do ill conduct, then admonish them first, and then boycott them in the bed, and last beat them lightly. But if they return to obedience, seek not against them a means of annoyance. And then what did he say? Inna Allaha kana aliyan kabira. Do men read this last part of this verse? Verily Allah is ever the most high, the most great. The Sheikh, he says, this last part of the verse is a warning for the husbands who violate their women. This is a warning for the men. He said he told you what you can do, but the last part of the verse, he warned you if you go overboard and do something he didn't allow you to do. He said, so verily Allah Ta'ala is the most high, the most great, and he is the protector of these women. He said, and if you oppress these women, he is going to take revenge on their behalf. Allah is going to take revenge for these women against the men who oppress them. He said, therefore, O husbands, if you feel yourself qawiyun, if you think you're strong, and you think you're able to beat your wife, and you want to beat her for no reason, in an instance that is not allowable, in a manner that's beyond the bounds. He said, they remember that Allah Ta'ala is her guardian, the one who has power over all things. He said, he is her guardian, he is the most high, he is the most great. He said, so beware of of making her Lord angry. Don't make her Lord angry by oppressing her. Naam. And the Messenger of Allah Islam, he said, do not beat the female slaves of Allah. Naam. And we all know what we mentioned, that our mother Aisha, may Allah Ta'ala be pleased with her, that what she said about the Prophet Muhammad Islam, that he never hit a woman, never hit a slave. He only hit when it was time to fight in the battle. Naam. Okay. Number 4. Leave a little space, brothers. He said, أن يتودد I'm sorry أن يتودد إليها باللسان أن يتودد إليها باللسان, that he is affectionate towards her with his tongue, and that he is affectionate towards her with his tongue and his actions, even if he exaggerates in his speech and compliments her with qualities that she does not have. Okay? What's number one? Spend upon her. What's number two? Be kind to her. What's number three? Not beat her. What's number four? Be affectionate with his tongue. Ya akhwan, wallahi ya akhwan, I'm going to tell you some things I have seen from some people, ya akhwan, that we wonder where some people come from, ya akhwan. It's sad. We've seen, ya akhwan, a woman will ask her husband, هتحبني? فيقول لا. She'll say, do you love me? Say no. And brother, why you tell your wife you don't love her? It's haram to lie. You know, I don't want to lie. He's pious now. Tell his wife he doesn't love her. And we also see, ya akhwan, the sheikh said what? It's permissible to lie, right? Lying to your wife to make her feel good. Seeing a man will tell his wife that, you know, for example, if a man is married to a woman, maybe from Great Britain, but he likes women from Africa, he'll tell his wife, you know, you're really not my type, I like women from Africa. SubhanAllah. Who tells their wife that? When your wife says, what's your type? You say, go look in the mirror. That's my type. You're my type. Even if she's not your type. I've seen something worse than that, ya akhwan. We know that if a man is out in the street, he's at work, and he sees the women and they have an effect upon him, he does what? He goes home and he's into with his family. Does that mean that you go home and tell your wife, whoa, I saw some fitness today, let's go? It happened. But tell his wife, one brother can't, there's a beautiful woman at work. She's a fitna for me. SubhanAllah. What if your wife did that to you? What if your wife came home and said, man at Home Depot has some broad shoulders. It's a fitna. I can't go to Home Depot no more. You'll be upset. Ya akhwan. You have to think, if your wife did that to you, you will be upset. But brothers come home and they tell their wives that they saw some fitna. Who does that, ya akhwan? You make your wife think she is your earth. She's everything. That's what you do, ya akhwan. And if you don't like her like that, don't marry her. That's why you see her before you marry her. And once you marry her, you have to make her think she's everything, ya akhwan. SubhanAllah, ya akhwan. I couldn't make this stuff up, all right? My Allah got us. He said, so even if he said he can express his love for her in his heart, expressing a greater love than what is actually present. He said, and the Messenger of Allah, he allowed lying when a man has conversation with his wife or when a wife has conversation with her husband. He says there is no problem with a man lying to his wife like this, Shahwan, because it's going to bring about happiness in the home. He says, so therefore he'll mention to her some type of beauty that she may not even have, right? And he'll mention love, although he doesn't find this love in his heart. Now this next part, ya akhwan, you may want to let the women go out and vend at this point right here. Now this is another type of lying that the Sheikh said you can do. He said, if a woman asks you to get her something, buy her something, and you are not able to get it, and you're afraid that if you tell her no, it's going to be some type of, some type of drama, he said you can say to her, I'll get it inshallah. And if she asks you again, say, I didn't find it at the price I was looking for that. You ain't telling the truth. You was hoping it was going to be free. So you didn't find it at the price you were looking for. So you can tell her, I didn't find it at the price I was looking for yet. He said, and you can try to stave her off a little bit until you're able to get it to make sure things are smooth in the home. Now, he says what else? He says, also, ya akhwan, he said, just like the man likes to come home and see his wife fixed up, he said the man has to groom himself for his wife also. See, and of course he's going to groom himself in a manly way, right? Manly grooming, right? So he's going to use, oil, and he's going to make his appearance nice so he can groom himself. Naam, if you mention the verse, وَلَهُنَّ مِثْلَ الَّذِي عَلَيْهِنَّ بِالْمَعْرُوفِ, and the women, they have similar rights to that which they have over them, in that which is reasonable. And Ibn Abbaas, we know Ibn Abbaas, right? May Allah Ta'ala be pleased with him. He said, verily, I beautify myself for my wife, just like I love for her to beautify herself for me. This is Salafiyya, ya akhwan. This is Dawah Salafiyya. Ibn Abbaas, he said, verily, I beautify myself for my wife, just like I like for her to beautify herself for me. Now, he said, ya akhwan, from the affection that a man can show to his wife is for him to share household duties with her. This is all still number 4. For him to share household duties with her. And he said, and the Messenger of Allah, his wife Aisha said about him, كان يكون في محنة أهله وإذا حضرت الصلاة خرج إليها. That he used to be in the service of his family, and when the time for prayer came, he would go out to the prayer. And Sheikh Abdul Razak al-Badr, ya akhwan, we know him, right? He's the son of who? Sheikh Abdul Musa al-Bad. He said, he mentioned a story. He said there's a student of knowledge, and he wanted to know what his wife goes through in the home. So he told his wife, he said, from Fajr to Isha, don't move. He said, I'm going to cook, I'm going to clean the house, and if the kids get dirty, I'm going to wash the kids. He said, when you hear the adhan for Isha, then you can go back to doing your household duties. He said, but I'm going to do everything today. He said he took a day off from work and said, I got it today. He said when the adhan came, he appreciated his wife. He knew what she did in the home, ya akhwan. He said, but some men, they don't thank their wives, or if they have a servant in the house, they don't think their servant, all they do is complain. You didn't do this, you didn't do that. He said, but they never did it, so how do you know? And he said, and it's not obligatory that you do it. He said, but at least you can do what the Prophet Muhammad did. He used to be in the service of his family, and when the prayer came, he went out to make the prayer. Now, he said, also, the Messenger of Allah, he was sociable with his family. He was smiling. He played with his family. He was gentle with his family. He used to race Aisha. How old was he when he did that, ya akhwan? Anyone know? When he had this race with his wife Aisha, how old was he? 53 years old. 53 years old, and he was racing with his wife. I'm sorry, he was 53 years older than her. Nah, Sheikh says he was 53 years older than her. Nah, he said, so, he said one time they were out on a journey, and he said to his companions, go ahead, go forward. And she said to his wife, come here, I'm going to race you. Now, who won that race? Aisha won the race. She said, I raced him and I beat him. And I beat him. Now, the Sheikh said, La ilaha illallah. He said, he was over 50. He said, and he was traveling with his companions, but he told them to go ahead so he could race his wife. Now, he said, look at his companionship. He said, and then some time went by. And Aisha said, and I became heavier. And I forgot about the previous race we had. He said, so they were on another journey. He said to his companions, go ahead. And he said, come, let's race again. And she said, how can I race you and I gain all this weight? And he said, oh, you're going to race me. Because he wanted payback from her beating him before. He said, so I raced him and he beat me. And he began to laugh. And he said, this is for the previous race. This is the Messenger of Allah, ya akhwan. This is the best of mankind. Racing and playing with his wife. Naam. He said, so he played with his wife and his wives, and he made them happy, and he would race them. He said, and the last race occurred at the end of his life. At the end of his life. Now, he said also, even when she was on her menses, he would be close to her. Aisha, may Allah please her, she said, I used to cook meat while on my menses, and so I gave some to the Prophet Muhammad and he put it in his mouth, and then he put the same piece in my mouth. He said, and if I would drink from a vessel, he would take the vessel and we would drink from the same spot. This is called romance, Shaqwan. Drinking from the same spot of the glass as your wife. romance. Now, he said, and he would place his head in my lap when I was on my menses. Now, he said, and if he would spend the night with me when I was on my menses, then she would put a cloth on and he would still hug her. And if any blood dripped, he would just wash the blood up. But he would still hug his wife, even if she was missing, ya ikhwan. Now, what else did he do? He said they would bathe in the same tub. They would bathe together. Now, he said, so he is an excellent example for us. He said, some of the husbands, they moan and groan. They say, we don't have any time. We're too old to play with our wives. He said he was 53 years old, and then older the second time. Now, he said, and not only that, he said, but he carried the burdens of millions on his back. He was in charge of the entire ummah. And he had a family. And he had children. And he had multiple wives. But he still found time to play with his wives, ya ikhwan. Some of the people, all they do, the men, the wives complain, they stay on that computer all day long. They get home from work and they're on the hasub, the computer, all day long. And they don't have any time for the wives at all, ya ikhwan. Now, this number 5? What's number 1? What's number 2? What's number 3? Number 4? Number 5. Ala yusubbaha, that he does not insult her. That he does not insult her. This is a right, ya ikhwan, that your wife has upon you, that you do not insult her. Sheikh Sulaiman Rahili, he said, so he should not verbally abuse his wife, and he should not revile her appearance or her actions. Naam, and he mentioned a hadith that the Messenger of Allah said, that he should not disgrace her. That he should not disgrace her. So you should not insult your wife, ya ikhwan. Don't, and as we mentioned, ya ikhwan, on Friday, many of the brothers, they insult their wife when they gain weight, and she gained weight because she had your children. And if you don't like her gaining the weight, then take her walking. But many brothers, you can't take her walking because you're on the computer. And then you blame she's overweight. Take her walking. Shaykh al-Amin Akhwan, as a footnote, he mentions that as the brother Abu Muhammad al-Maghribi, may Allah reward him with good, was mentioning the same thing with the children. And Shaykh al-Amin, he says that people have problems with their children because they didn't do one thing. He said lunch and dinner. He said if you have lunch with your child, it will make the world of a difference. Lunch, Akhwan. How long does lunch take? He said, but when you don't have lunch and dinner with your children, you make a gap between you and your children, and then when they get older, they don't want to have anything to do with you. Time, ya ikhwan. Now, number 6. La yahjuruha, that he not boycott her. That he should not boycott her. Now, and he's going to explain. Yahjuruha, right? He said, from the rights of the wife upon her husband, that he should not boycott her unless there is a reason for him to boycott her as a means of discipline. Naam, he said, and if there is a means, naam. He said, and if he boycotts her, then it should only be done in the home, meaning he should not leave the home. Naam, and he mentioned the hadith, وَلَا يَحْجُرُهُ إِلَّا فِي الْبَيْتِ, and let him not boycott her except in the home. And ya ikhwan, this verse, وَحْجُرُهُنَّ فِي الْمَضَاجِعِ, and boycott them in the beds. The ulama, they say there are many different tafsir about this. Naam, and it's not that the man says, okay, I'm going to boycott you, I'm going to lie on the bed, you're going to lie on the couch. I'm going to lie on the bed, you're going to lie on the floor. Many other explanations of this, they say when you boycott your wife, you boycott her, and you're on the same bed. Turn your back to her. Or you don't sleep under the same sheet. Or you're not intimate with her. That's boycotting. Doesn't mean that you're going to make your wife sleep in the car, ya ikhwan. Or she's going to sleep on the couch. Naam? What number was that? 6. And it was what? Don't boycott her without a reason. Naam. And it has, to be in the proper way that you boycott. Number 7 is La yufshi sirraha, that you should not expose her secrets. Don't expose her secrets, right? He said, so the man should not speak about the same thing we mentioned last night, that which the door is closed upon, especially that which is connected to being intimate. Naam, so you should not go out and disclose the secrets of your wife. That's pretty straightforward. He mentioned the details of that last night. That was what? 7. Number 8. لا يغضبها, that he should not hate her. Naam, he should not hate her. He said from the rights of the wife upon the husband that he should not become angry with her and only look at her bad qualities. Rather, he should look at her good qualities. He said, and he tries to magnify her good qualities and minimize her bad qualities. He says, and he tries as much as possible to only see good in her. And then he mentioned that the narration that the Messenger of Allah, he said, let no believing man hate a believing woman. If he hates one characteristic, then he will see another that will please him. Number 9, أن يأخذ منها ما تيسر, that he, from the rights of the wife upon the husband, is that he takes from her that which is easy, that he makes things easy for her. Naam, he says, so he should keep in mind her nature and not overburden her, but make things easy for her. And then he mentioned the narration, said, treat the woman kindly, for verily they were created from the rib. And the most crooked part of the rib is the top part. And if you straighten it out, you will do what? You will break it. And if you leave it alone, then it shall remain crooked. And then he said again, treat the woman kindly. And then in another narration he said, the woman is created from a rib that will never become straight. So if you enjoy her, then enjoy her with the crookedness that is in her. For if you try to straighten her out, you will break her. And breaking her means what? To divorce her. Now he says, so the intent behind this hadith is that the man knows the nature of the woman and that he is pleased by making things easy for her and he does not burden her beyond her capability. He said he should overlook her faults because she was created from the rib. Number was that, ya akhwan? Number 10, he said, أن يكون معها على أحسن خلق, that he is with her with the best character and manners. That he is with her with the best character and manners. He said, so the man should have the best character with his wife, and he should show her the best of what he has. And listen to what he says, ya akhwan. And many people have seen this. He says, some of the men, they have the best manners in the marketplace. And they have the best manners with their friends. And they have the best manners with the people in general, giving them their best. Now, he said, فَإِذَا دَخَلَ بَيْتَهُ كَانَ أَسِدًا. He said, but when he comes inside his home, said he is a ferocious lion. So when he comes home, he's a lion. And we've seen this, ya akhwan, right? As we mentioned Friday, we find many other men, and they're very nice with a non-Muslim woman. Extremely, overly nice. Almost flirtatious nice. And they come home to their wife, and he wants to be a lion. He said he is aggressive, and she sees no good from him. He is only angry and abusive. He said, and a kind voice is not heard from him, or a kind word. And he said, but the Messenger of Allah, he said, أَكْمَلُ الْمُؤْمِنِينَ إِيمَانًا أَحْسَنُهُمْ خُلَقًا. He said, the most complete believer in faith is the one with the best manners. He said, and the best of you is the one who is best to his family. Listen to what he said, ya akhwan. He said, there is no good in you that you are seeing helping your friends and that you are seeing helping the people, but you're not good to your family. There's no good in you that you can help everyone but your family. Now, he said, now if you're good to your family and you're good to the people, then you have glad tidings of what the Prophet Muhammad said, خَيْرُكُمْ خَيْرُكُمْ لِأَحْلِي وَأَنَا خَيْرُكُمْ لِأَحْلِي. The best of you are those who are the best to the family, and I'm the best to my family. What number are we on now? أن يكون سببا في وقيتها من النار. That he be the reason for her being saved from the hellfire. That he be the reason for her being saved from the hellfire. He said from the rights that the wife has upon the husband is that he is a reason to protect her from the hellfire. And he does this by teaching her. And he enjoins the good upon her and forbids the evil. And he is patient with that. He said, so he prevents her from anything that could cause her to enter the hellfire. And then he mentioned the verse, قُوا أَنفُسَكُمْ يَا أَيُّهَا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا قُوا أَنفُسَكُمْ وَأَهْلِيكُمْ نَارًا وَقُودُهَا النَّاسُ وَالْحِجَارَةُ O you who believe, save yourselves and your family from a fire whose fuel is men and stone. Now, does anyone know what kind of stone this is? That's in the hellfire? Allah Ta'ala says the fuel of the hellfire is men and stones. What kind of stone is this? Huh? Okay, is it Ahsan, Jazakallah Khair? Anybody else?
Large, very large stones.
They're going to be large. Naam, Jazakallah Khair. Black, okay, Jazakallah Khair.
The one that spark like on a match.
Okay, Barakallahu Fikum. Jazakallah Khair. The ulama, and you can find this on the MTWS blog if you want to get the details of it, they say this is brimstone. So, and there's a reason for this brimstone being the fruit of the fire. See, because brimstone stinks, has a very horrid smell. Also, it ignites and becomes hotter than any other stone. And also that when it burns, it sticks to your skin. It sticks to the skin. So this is the kind of fire, the kind of stone that's going to be ignited in the hellfire. May Allah Ta'ala save us from that. Now, and the last one, Ya Akhwan, which is what number? He said, أَن يَغَارَ عَلَيْهَا أَن يَغَارَ عَلَيْهَا, that he is jealous for her. He said she should see from her husband, from the rights of the wife upon the husband, is that he should have jealousy for her. So she should see from her husband jealousy. But it is a rational jealousy. It is a rational jealousy. Now, he said it is a jealousy that brings about good and repels evil. He said, so he is jealous of his wife. He doesn't want anyone to see her body, anything of her body. He is jealous of her wife, that she should turn a glance towards unrelated men or mix with unrelated men or speak to them, and it's not a necessity to do so. And we mentioned the example last night about how some men don't have jealousy for their wife when they sit down and they watch the wrestlers wrestle around in front of their wife. He said, but as for the jealousy that equates to doubt and tracking her every move without a cause for doubt, he said this is jealousy which is haram. You can't become a spy. He says this jealousy that makes you track your wife is haram. He says some of the husbands, he said you find them being jealous, therefore they spy on their wives. He said and there's no reason for them to have doubt. He said and they have doubt concerning her without any cause. He said so when they enter the home, they rush to her cell phone and they look at the call log. Who she been talking to while I was at work? Now, he said, and if the phone rings, they go sit right beside her and they want to listen to who she's speaking to. Now, he said, and they track her and they search through her things and they are suspicious of her. And if they hear her say a word, they say, what do you mean by that? Everything is, she must be cheating on me. And do you know that there's another danger to listening to your wife's phone conversation? What's that? What is that? Eavesdropping, Yahweh. That sister don't want you to listen to her. That sister don't want you hearing a voice like that. You didn't give her permission to listen to her. It's not permissible to listen to her without their permission. She's talking to a woman. You're not mahram for that woman. You can't sit there and listen to that woman's every conversation. She may be saying something personal, or even just hearing her voice. She don't want you to hear her voice. She didn't call you. You can't do that, Yahweh. It's not permissible. That you're going to call that brother and say, hey, brother, you mind if I listen to your wife? She's talking to my wife. That's not going to go over too well, Yahweh. So you can't do that. It's not permissible, Yahweh. Now, he said, so he said, but you find this person who is this type who has this type of jealousy, if anyone tries to correct them, he'll say, they want my wife. They want her. The Sheikh said this, Shaquan. They'll say, they want my wife. He said, the Prophet Muhammad Islam, he said, there is a protective, let me give you this narration. This narration is collected in Abu Dawood. Now, he said, there is a protective jealousy that Allah loves. And there is a protective jealousy which Allah hates. The protective jealousy that Allah loves is protective jealousy where there is a cause for doubt. And the protective jealousy that Allah hates is the protective jealousy where there is no cause for doubt. Naam. So, in conclusion, Yaqwan, he says, so this is the righteous husband. As for the husband who is not righteous, then he asks his wife for things that are not his rights because he doesn't know what his rights are. He says, and he is an evil companion to her, and he becomes angry very quickly. If the wife asks him for something, he complains about it and becomes hostile. If she asks again, he frowns and scowls at her. And if she insists, he's going to beat her down and become violent. He said when he's inside the home, he wears raggedy clothes. When he comes out, he's fixed up. He said when he leaves the home, he adorns himself and perfumes himself and brushes his hair, combs his beard out. But when he returns home, he looks like somebody who's at work. He said, no doubt this is a reason for discord, divorce, and strife. He said, so I end this by explaining to you that from the reason to have a good companionship in the home for the reason to have a good marriage is for the man to be a good companion with his wife. He said, وَعَاشِرُوهُنَّ بِالْمَعْرُوفِ, and live with them in kindness. He said, and the scholars mentioned this is what is reasonable to the custom of the people, that you are kind to your spouse. He said, and you respect the opinion of both, that each spouse respects the other's opinion, and they cooperate in that which will bring about joy and happiness. So the woman is a good companion to her husband, and she consults him in her affairs, and she respects his opinion. Now, and she honors his family. Now, he said, and the man is a good companion to his wife, and he consults her also, and he accepts her opinion if she's correct. He said, and the man should also be good to her family. Now, he said, and I conclude with advice which is necessary for both spouses to adhere to, and that is the greatest thing which will bring about cooperation between the spouses for the home to be established upon the religion. He said, so both spouses should be concerned with the religion and being righteous, and they should help each other upon the religion. We know some of the brothers, Akhwan, and the wives really helped them out. One brother, he mentioned that he had just got married. He was a newlywed, wedding night. He said, so the next morning, he was kind of shy about, leaving and going to Fajr prayer. Didn't know what his wife was going to say. He said his wife, when it's time for Fajr, said his wife put her feet on him and pushed him out of the bed. She said, I know how to lead Salat. Go to the Masjid. I know how to pray. Go pray with the men. And that set the tone for the home. They've been married for about 10, 15 years now. That set the tone when she told him, no, you go do what you do. That set the tone, as opposed to like some wives, don't leave me. And they set the tone to make the man shy to go do what he's created to do. Now, he said, so nothing brings about happiness and ease in the home such as the two spouses worshiping Allah Ta'ala together. And then he mentioned the narration, may Allah have mercy upon the man who gets up at night and wakes up his wife and she prays. And if she refuses to get up, he sprinkles water in her face. And may Allah have mercy upon the woman who gets up at night and prays and she wakes her husband up. And if he doesn't want to get up, she sprinkles water in his face. Now he says, so if the spouses cooperate upon religion and dhikr of Allah Ta'ala in the home will be stable. And then he mentioned the narration, the example of the house where Allah is mentioned in, and the home where he is not mentioned in is like the difference between the living and the dead. In his other book, Reasons for Happy Family Life, and we'll end with this, He said you find some of the people in the home is in chaos. And he said the reason why, he said, because people don't know how to enter the home right. He said people enter the home, and what should you do when you enter the home, ya akhwan? There's dua you make. He said people enter the home singing. He said when you enter your home singing, shaitan will enter with you. He said no, he'll enter before you do. Shaitan will enter your house before you do. You walk in your house singing, and shaitan is right there, and then people shocked. What's going on? Why are we arguing all the time? Because you don't know how to enter your home. Close your door, singing. Enter your door, singing. That's why the home is wrecked. Now, so we'll stop right here, inshallah, because it's getting late. And we'll mention some more things which are connected to this tomorrow, inshallah. Inshallah. I don't do questions, brother.
And then he said,
Okay, I'm doing that.